So tonight, change and transition. Change and transition, peace in the adventures of letting go. Anyone experiencing any change or transition in life? Right, it's like a near constant thing. Nearly constant, isn't it? Sometimes, sometimes, and I've noticed this with folks that I associate with. Sometimes a society or even groups of people who associate with one another will experience what we refer to as a growth period or a transition period together. So we can sometimes experience these on a large scale. And it's been said that our human family is and has been doing just that, has been going through just that thing. One such period of intensified growth, change, and transition. The tail end of which I believe is supposed to be 2024, but who knows if you believe in that sort of thing. So I decided to just touch on that a bit tonight. It's interesting. I don't know how many folks have, all the AI talk that's going around. So there's a couple that you can engage, and one is Chat GPT. I'm not advertising for it. I finally did it. I signed up for an account. I was really paranoid at first, but my partner did it. She was like, "Oh no, they can't go beyond 2 years of knowledge, and they can't have whole knowledge about people." So I went ahead and tried, and I asked the Chat GPT to share about humanity's relationship to change and transition. And this is what it said. It says, change is the thread woven through the fabric of human existence, a constant force shaping our journey. In transition, we navigate the spectrum of emotions, from the excitement of new beginnings to the discomfort of uncertainty. It's in these moments that growth unfurls, pushing us beyond familiar boundaries. Like a butterfly emerging from a cocoon, we transform, shedding old layers to reveal the evolving tapestry of our identity. The dance of change through challenge whispers the promise of resilience and the beauty of embracing the unknown. Rather poetic, I thought. Wow. And I only said one sentence. I said, share about blah. I thought that was pretty great. So, in order to talk about how we engage change and transition, we got to talk about attachment. We got to talk about attachment and desire. We talk about this all the time, something we hear over and over again. Desire, attachment, the four truths, clinging. Yes, in this practice. With this teaching around attachment is central to our practice. The Buddha's first teaching, Four Noble Truths, Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. There is suffering, it's a truth. And the second truth, which is the cause of suffering. Cause of suffering, which is it's our tendency toward grasping and clinging. It is our tendency toward attachment. Desire and attachment to constantly changing conditions. So, heartbreak disappointment. These are all related to this phenomenon, this clinging, grasping, attachment. Heart comes attached. So we tend to be drawn toward all of the wonderful things that we love that bring us some form of pleasure. May not be lasting happiness, but we certainly like the right now kind of pleasant stuff, stuff that we feel comforted by, or that make us feel secure in some way. And the flip, of course, is aversion. And aversion is when we contract, or when we close off or recoil from experience, when we sometimes are not enjoying how things are going, when we would like for things to be going differently. So we also in this life have deeper yearnings, deeper aspirations that go beyond just a right now feel good kind of a hit. Deep longings, deep desires. And all of these things, our desires, our attachments, our yearnings and aspirations, these are the things that move us around in life. These are the things that propel us from moment to moment and day to day. And so some of this is necessary. It's necessary as we traverse, as we move through life. Our passions, our motivations are born in these desires, these deep yearnings or longings. And just moment to moment desires, they move us around in life. So there is healthy attachment as well. So not all attachment is unhealthy. We have healthy attachment in relationship. And also some of our deeper and greater aspirations are helpful. These are beneficial in life, help us to grow. So it's not all about not having any desires. It's not about that at all. Or always feeling good. It's certainly not about that at all. But can we look deeply into what is driving us in any situation in order to discern, in order to direct and point ourselves to discern what keeps us mired in difficulty or challenge or suffering, as we call it, and what is the good stuff? What is the stuff that is helping me, supporting me, and not just the right now feel good kind of stuff? Sometimes we have to work hard, but it's still supportive. It's still beneficial. Sometimes it's not pleasant, but it's the good thing. It's the right thing. Sometimes it's difficult to give up harmful patterns. It's challenging, but we know that it's beneficial. So looking deeply, this is what we want to be doing into our discernment and our direction. I'll read you something. This is from one of the this is from Aya Anandabodhi and Aya Santachita, who teach here quite often. In their book, Leaving It All Behind. And they say it's not that things will always feel good. That's impossible. But as we practice little by little, our old tendencies start to shift and new ways of responding get stronger. Guided by our own wisdom and a wish for freedom, things start to open up. We feel the joy of being aligned with the path, and we can direct our internal compass to this joy as we navigate our way through the journey of life. I like the way they say that. So we are really the captain of the boat, although sometimes it feels like we're not, but we have the power to discern. And the more we get comfortable with holding our real time experience, being with what is arising for us, the better we get at discerning, the better we get at looking and seeing. And we can kind of get out of our automaton. Why can't I say that right now? Automaton mode and our patterning. So I want to speak. So we had to talk about attachment. And I want to speak about kind of what we do as we are creating our lives. I want to talk about birthing a bit. And I want to just name that in our various incarnations, our entire spectrum here, the term or the idea of giving birth can be interesting. And so certainly the female body is built for giving birth. And all of us as humans, as integral parts of this woven tapestry of all living beings, we birth. And so it's not only womb birth that we do, we have heart birth. We give birth to transformation, to love, to self-love, to ourselves, right? Each moment, again and again and again, we have this power to bring into being. Don't we? I think we do. So we are ever changing, and this allows us a birth every moment. If you think about it. And so the only catch is that we've got to learn how to soften our tendencies around attachment. Right? Soften our tendencies around attachment, to grasping, to clinging. We hear these words, grasping and clinging, over and over again. But what is the real meaning when applied to our lives, really? If we look at the divorce or separation that maybe should have happened a decade ago, right? Unhealthful relationships that we have a hard time letting go of. Swimming upstream toward desires or goals, and the doors just aren't opening. It's hard to look at these places of clinging. Sometimes we are very attached at the idea of falling in love. That's another thing many people are clinging to. Having a partnership. Sometimes, whatever the circumstances, the boat is sinking, it's filling with water, and yet we just keep shoveling the water out. We're wet, we're tired, We're drenched, we're cold. But this is the boat. This is the boat I want. Yes? This idea of it. And so sometimes we are running through life. There's nothing wrong with wanting love or having these desires and yearnings. Sometimes we are running through life with blinders on. Yes, tunnel vision. Um, and we can be fixed. We can have our vision fixed on certain elements, and we can't see anything else. We can't see anything else. And so this can keep us from engaging, vibrant, joyful spontaneity that is constantly unfolding around us, arising all around us. And so it can keep us from engaging that in a meaningful way and experiencing joy that is possible for us. So I've said this, in order to enter the living room, we've got to what? We got to be willing to leave the kitchen. Yeah. And it's not always easy. It's as simple as that, but it's easier said than done. But opening to new possibilities allows us really a new birth. And there's a great freedom in that. Yeah. So this is the wonder and magic of understanding impermanence. We know that impermanence allows a seed to become a tree. We know that impermanence allows a child, including ourselves, to grow into beautiful, mature, creative, wise beings. Impermanence allows us to create anything in all in this life. If you look around, just look around your space. Even these computer screens, all of this is based on the ability to manifest things for changing circumstances, changing form, the ability to bring things forward with our creative imaginations, our minds, our hands. This is all based on the magic of impermanence. We are no different. Our beings. So touching into the reality of the impermanence of all things and deepening our capacity to hold our experience in that light allows us to experience more and more freedom, or a stronger sense of being unbound, or allowing ourselves and all that is around us here in this life to be just what it is, which is constantly changing, evolving, being born. Impermanence also allows us to feel more deeply into appreciation and gratitude or reverence. And it does this because when we know that something is fleeting, finite, or at some point will return to dust or to stardust, if you will, which is pretty much all things, all of our relationships, the passing loves, our family members, this earth, this life itself, all the objects, everything, every last thing, then we know that every moment with it is precious. we can get in touch with that. Yes, every moment is precious. So both reverence and a deeper freedom are available through our understanding of changing conditions and our relationship to the truths. Strong impact that our desires and attachments have. So it's not just about our ability to adapt, right? We have this idea of adapting to changing circumstances, right? I envision the surfer surfing the waves, surfing the tides of change. I think many people hold this concept or this idea in that way. But it's also really the action of teaching ourselves to let go, softening the grip, raising the eyes to horizons, to the horizons, freedom. And we can do this. Let's see. Some of you have heard me speak about the Heart Sutra some, Prajnaparamita. Heart Sutra. It's a sutra in the Mahayana Buddhist tradition. And it's Prajnaparamita means insight or wisdom. I'm sorry, Prajna means insight or wisdom. And Param means the other shore. And Ita means gone. So it's the insight that brings us to the other shore, or the perfect understanding of the perfection of wisdom. And so, of course, there's also the female deity, Prajnaparamita. And she is the personification of perfected wisdom. So also known as Great Mother or Eternity. She is the ether. She is self-born. And so the insight of the Prajnaparamita is the ultimate truth, transcending all other truths, it's said. And so it's considered by many to be the highest insight in our tradition. It's the perfect understanding of what's happening here, what we're doing, the truth of reality. And so this sutra teaches us about the journey from ether, right, back to ether. And we get all bent up about everything in the middle. All right, so we have this from ether to ether. And we have this experience here in the middle we get in a tangle about. So I also want to speak about this phenomena that we call samsara in our tradition. And samsara in Buddhism refers to this continuous cycle of what we refer to as death and birth. So just the continuous cycle of death and birth. Everything, not only these bodies, these little bodies at the doors of death and birth. It's everything all the time. Everything all the time. Samsara is happening cell by cell. I don't know how many thousands we shed in a day. We see it all over nature. Dying leaves in the fall, bare naked trees in the winter, beautiful spring green and flowers and blossoms. Constantly, we see stars that change form. We have what do we have? We have red giants. We have supernova, black holes. This is constantly happening. We are in the midst of this cycle, these cycles that we call samsara, the great cycle. Endless, eternal. It's happening now, impermanence, changing conditions. So, what happens when we lose our way in this life, when we come upon difficulties and challenges that can cause deep confusion, few passions? I don't know if anyone's ever found themselves in this space. No clear path or direction. Yeah. At times, life changes can be so abrupt or difficult that you really don't know what to do next. We don't know what to do. And or even what you desire. This can happen sometimes. We can find ourselves at a scary place. It can be scary. No plan past this juncture. And life can throw stuff at us that really pulls the carpet out from under us sometimes. So this can sometimes be referred to as being in the gap. Yes, the gap, where we sometimes can't see any choices. We can't see the choices. There's no inkling or possibilities or way forward. Scary yet interesting. Interesting. This is a space of pure potential. This space, this gap. It's the unknown. It's an opportunity to explore the unbound, storyless self. Unbound and storyless. The chapters are yet unexplored, unwritten. And so this is a powerful space. You need not be mired in confusion, resting in this place. Powerful and sacred, the gap. You have full permission to watch this emptiness as you would the breath, and see what arises when you tend to yourself with care and tenderness. We don't always have to be. Sometimes we can actually lose sight of the path, and that's okay too. I'm going to read you this poem by Rumi. It's called Silence. Rumi's so great. I love his sense of humor. Last night, I became mad. Love saw me and said, I am here. Don't shout, don't wail. Just be silent. I said, oh, love, what I fear is something else. Love said, there is nothing else. Just be silent. I will whisper divine secrets in your ear. Just nod yes and be silent. I said, is this face angel or human? So, we're to trust. Love said, neither angel or human, just be silent. I said, I will lose my mind if you don't tell me. Love said, then lose your mind and stay that way, just be silent. You who sit in this house filled with images and illusions, get up, walk out, go, and be silent. So a lovely invitation just to listen. That sometimes it's okay just to sit with the uncertainty, with the openness, and listen. Listen to what arises. Sometimes we simply listen and sit with emptiness. And what happens when you shush your own madness, our madness, we can get pretty wound up in there. What happens when you listen to love? When all directions are open to you. This is this softening the grip. When all directions are open to you, it can be a very powerful place. As long as we're willing to leave the kitchen. So I want to share with you a portion of a refuge practice. And this is invoking a deity from the Vajrayana. And this is Vajra Kilaya. Vajra Kilaya. And I'm just going to share with you a portion because it's pretty long. But I can, and this is a chant, and I can put it in the chat later if you're interested in looking at the whole thing. Vajra Kilaya is a Vajrayana meditation deity known as one of the 8 Herukas. And a Heruka is a type of enlightened being in the Vajrayana Buddhist tradition, which is synonymous with Tibetan Buddhism. And so these Heruka take fearsome stances to benefit sentient beings. So they kind of come with a wrathful type of an energy, a wrathful type of a force of compassion and love, which is interesting. And they represent the embodiment of indivisible bliss in emptiness. So sometimes we can kind of take on that stance for ourselves, and we can actually harness emptiness, which I found to be a very powerful place. There's many different interpretations of emptiness, not just one. And so Vajra Kilaya is also known as the embodiment of the activities of the Buddha mind. Activities of the Buddha mind. Activities being sort of the fallout or unfoldings that arise when Buddha mind is embodied. So it's kind of what manifests, what is referred to as the Buddha mind activity is the karma of the Buddha mind, if that makes sense. All of us are capable of embodying Buddha mind. And the karma that results is Buddha mind activity, if you will. So I'd like to invoke some Vajra Kilaya energy. And this is from Taking Refuge and Generating the Awakened Mind of Bodhicitta. For those of you who like to chant, we'll post the link so you can have it in the chat. And I'll just read some of it for you. It begins, and I'll read the Pali, just the first line. Namo Lama Shoksum Palchen Heruka. And so it begins with Namo, which is homage. Namo to the Guru, the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha, and the great, awesome Heruka. With the deepest devotion, we take refuge, so that I and all beings, as limitless as the sky, may be victorious over negativity, enemies, and Samaya breakers. I shall practice with wrathful Vajra Kumara, which is this great devotion to blissful emptiness and compassion, as we'll find out. For within the space of sunyata, which is emptiness, arise unending clouds of compassion. The wisdom of discernment, my own Rigpa awareness, which is a deep awareness, appears as a dark blue hum. And then it goes on, and I won't go into this, it goes on to describe in great detail. And they like to sort of draw images of these great beings, and confronting some of these demons, which are illusions in the mind, and so on. And so if you'd like to read on about that, please do. It's really, really amazing and interesting. And I'll read the final part, which is the dedication. My body, speech, and mind bear the indestructible Vajra armor. Each of us have this capacity. Through the merit of this, may I and all sentient beings triumph over negativity and eliminate all obstacles. And may this be the certain cause of us all to attain the fruition of enlightenment. So I thought I would just invoke a little bit of that for us tonight. So as we work with our passing mind states, as the AI said, there's a thread, common thread through our human experience, through the core of each action. And our desires and attachments are really strong forces. And so this is where our practice and our work on this path, working with desire and attachment in this way, with change, with transition, with impermanence, the only constant thread, can support us. So I really want to say, though, is how we allow ourselves to grow. The circumstances are going to change. Right? There's going to be difficulty. There's going to be challenge. There's going to be confusion at times. How do we allow ourselves to stretch into the unknown? Do we allow ourselves the opportunity for growth and change? Do we allow ourselves into to work with the unfamiliarity? And what can that teach us? How do we manage this really ingrained tendency to cling to what feels safe and familiar, to our detriment at times? It can be stifling. The rigidity that can arise and set in. So I'm going to read you one last thing, and this is from a little short poem from Bell Hooks. She says, this is from When Angels Speak of Love. In love, there are no closed doors. Each threshold an invitation to cross. Take hold, take heart, and enter here. So I will stop there. And I will share the merit. So, once again, coming into presence, allowing what's been shared to settle. And so, whatever goodness, whatever benefit that we have cultivated here, whatever gifts of insight have landed on the heart, on the ears, on the mind, whatever benefit, whatever connections, whatever love, whatever compassion, may we carry these gifts with us into our lives, into the world, into all of our relationships, into all that we do, all that we practice, all that we manifest and create in this world. And may they ripple outward in all directions, reaching all beings everywhere in all the realms. May all beings know the great peace. May all beings know the loving support of Sangha. And may all beings walk the path to freedom. God, I thank you for your practice. Thank you so much for being here. Big, big love to everybody.